YOLO! Welcome to the 0 subscriber special, where I'm celebrating no subscribers. It's going to be an origin story kind of special, where I'll look back on this video one day and be like, oh, remember when nobody watched your channel or liked it, and now you've made it here? So that is what I am celebrating, the future victories that I know will be coming. But what good is an origin story without a little bit of, how should I put this, struggle, the grind, rags to riches, if you will. If you've watched some of my other videos, you may think that you've already caught me at the end of my financial journey. But that can't be farther from the truth, because I've only been doing this for a couple of years. So I'm still at the very beginning, and I haven't even yet started popping off. Let me take you back to when it all kind of started. You see, I was born at a very young age. Okay, we're not going to go that far back. But we are going to take it back to about late 2019, early 2020. I was living in an apartment by myself. I had a job at a moving company that I hated. It paid just enough to cover the bills and keep me constantly stressed about paying my bills. However, the cash tips I was able to save up over the course of a year and a half or 2 years, I was able to save up about $3,000 to $4,000 worth of cash tips. Now, this entire time I had my ear to the ground, listening to what was going on, paying attention, and I heard about Dogecoin and GameStop, how they were going to be blowing up in the next year or so. And I wanted to invest. But I didn't have any experience investing. Nobody taught me anything like that. I had zero financial literacy, zero financial education. And I fell into the mindset of thinking that only professionals could invest, and I would end up losing my money, so I didn't do anything with it, which kind of sucked. Then COVID came around, and right about the end of 2020, after being deemed an essential employee and forced to work while everyone else got to stay at home, and I still was making terrible pay, my apartment on my lease ended up coming up. So I moved back home with the family and commuted about an hour and a half to that job. I didn't work there for very long. I ended up quitting shortly after, no surprise. But I still had a little bit of chunk of change saved up. And over the course of the winter, I had applied to dozens of places, done phone interviews, I'd done actual in-person interviews, and did not get hired. The job market is absolutely cooked. But the stimulus payment came through, and that mixed with my $2,500 to $3,000 at this point, because I'd been living off my savings, I decided to take it all and go to a trucking school to get my CDL. It was about a 2-week course, and it took every last penny I had, and I'll spare you all the details because, that's a story for another video. But needless to say, I was able to successfully get my CDL and got hired directly out of the school. Then I started driving. I had a lot of time, and as much as I love music, and everybody loves music, you get burnt out of listening to songs over and over again, even if they're in different genres or different types. Like, I would hit rap from the 1990s or rock from the 90s, 80s, 70s. I'd do 2000s. I'd do blues, jazz. I even started listening to old sea shanties, which kind of go hard. But I got sick of listening to music after a while, and I wanted to learn about investing, because at that point it was 2021, and I had seen the Dogecoin and the GameStop go pop off, and I was so upset because I just did the math recently, and if I had actually invested in Dogecoin just like $2,000 like I was thinking of back then, it'd be worth just a tad over 100K today. So I knew I had to learn something about finance, about money, and since I was never taught any of this, I had no financial education, I had to start from scratch. So I just literally went on YouTube and just Googled top 10 books on finance or investing. And then I started making a list of the top 15 books that everyone should read, or 5 books recommended by X number of millionaires. And I just started gorging myself on all these books I could find. And I would say 80% of the books were repetitive and didn't really hold much value, but 20% of them were absolutely critical, and they got me into investing. And I started investing, and I hit the ground running hard, putting almost every dollar I had into it. See, at this point, I have very little monthly expenses, and truck driving was paying me more than I'd ever made in my entire life. So I was just socking away money left, right, and center, investing it, getting dividends, reinvesting the dividends. And in about 2 years, I went from $0 to my name to $100K balance in my portfolio. It was ridiculous. I absolutely loved it. But from there, I started investing more aggressively and taking out leverage to invest. I ended up taking out $210,000 and investing it all into one single stock, which is not financial advice in any way, shape, or form. You will sleep better at night if you do not do something like that. But I figured I had already been at zero. I could rebuild quickly, so if everything blew up in my face, it wouldn't be that bad. And I made an entire video explaining that whole thing in more detail, so if you want, you can go ahead and watch that later on my channel. But that kind of brings you up to about present day of how I had literally nothing to my name, just a small bit of savings. I got my CDL, I got into driving, and then the most important thing was just learning as much as I could, reading book after book. And I'm not gonna lie, the essays of Warren Buffett and half the books written on that guy are very informational, very thick and informative books. They are very boring. I got no hate for the guy. I love him. But gosh, his books and every book I can read that's written about him is so dull. I feel like I'm a 90-something-year-old man when I start reading these books. I start aging. But if you can get through just the absolute monotony of it, there's some really good wisdom in there. There's a lot of other information that happened in those years, but I'm not going to go over all that right now because that would just be like a 2.5 hour long video. So instead, I wanted to take a moment to say thank you to absolutely nobody, since there are 0 subscribers, and this is the 0 subscriber special. One day there will be a whole bunch of you guys, and I'm sure this video will get tons of views and likes from future viewers. But to the future viewers, imagine this is a little bit of time travel. You come back and you see that I was making special videos for absolutely nobody because I enjoyed it. So thank you to the future people, and to everyone who's currently here, which is nobody. Thank you to you as well. You know what would be really cool, and a way for you to be a part of this, is whoever you are, whenever you are, drop a comment down below with the exact date and time that you watched this video. Just saying, I was here on this day and time. You are a part of this little time travel 0 subscriber special video. And no matter what year it is, I'll always make sure I go back through this video and read over some of the comments. So just keep an eye out. I might even respond to you years in the future. Who knows? But with that, go ahead and drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. See a comment maybe 3, 10, 15 years from now. I'll try and respond. And with that, I'll go ahead and stop yapping so you can enjoy the final couple of shots here in this epic last second save kill cam. Literally down to the wire. But with that, I'll catch you on the flip side.